Hey, we're back. We're going to be looking at McDonald's. So the last time we looked at them was February 25th, and so that was right around, where was that? It was right in this range this week. One of these bars, either the end of the red bar or the very beginning of the green bar. And so here's basically just our summary from last time. Uh, it was currently at 263. I was marking a buy point of 230. That's going to get updated, and then a sell point at 273. That'll get updated too. Um, but uh, we're going to see why it's kind of shot off like this. So it clearly went above our what we thought was going to be a resistance line, and it's reached new highs. So let's just kind of look into some of the news of this. So currently it's at 282. And outside of that, some of the news lately, they've been named to Fortune by Fortune as one of the world's most admired companies. It's been this way for 15 consecutive years, and they're a great company. I mean, that's why they're on my list. I think I have maybe a share or two of this company. Way back, like it was one of my first picks, and I still like this company. It's just I'm trying to find a good spot to buy, and I think I kind of missed one based on what it's been doing so far. But other than that, some more news. They made a deal with Krispy Kreme. Breakfast for McDonald's is one of their big selling points. Something like 25% of their revenue is from breakfast. And here they are working out a deal with Krispy Kreme. From what I saw, it seems to be in Kentucky. So not everywhere in the United States has it, but in Kentucky it does. It looks like they announced it will broaden its Krispy Kreme market test program to 160 locations in Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky. So depending on how that goes, that's going to be you might see Krispy Kreme in your McDonald's in the near future. It seems like it's doing well because originally I think it was only like 10 stores. So this is just a second article also showing uh, that Krispy Kreme is benefiting from this deal. Um, yeah, I think it started in Louisville with just maybe like 10 locations, and here we are. It's expanded out to 160 locations in both Lexington and Louisville. So potential uh, investment opportunity for Krispy Kreme, which is labeled D Nut. Um, and McDonald's, I guess, seems to be benefiting from this too. Something else, Oatly has inked a deal with them to provide oat milk to their Austria stores. And Oatly, I recognize that name because there's another YouTuber, Jeremy Lefebvre. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right, but he makes videos, and Oatly's one of his stocks. So the fact that I don't know if he saw this in advance. I don't recall hearing him mention McDonald's and Oatly making a deal, but if he hasn't, this bodes well for that stock. I don't currently own this, but he talks it up a lot, and this is good news for them. And we'll see how this works with McDonald's, and maybe we'll see oat milk provided by Oatly in America soon. But that's some news, at least for the Austria location. Uh, this is pretty big news. So, two of their board members have decided to retire. So, no replacements have been announced yet, but Robert Eckert and John Rogers Jr. have both stepped away after 20 years. So, we'll see who fills in for those people and how the system changes, if at all. McDonald's is a well oiled machine here. I don't expect any changes no matter who comes in, but you never know. So once we find out, uh, we'll we'll bring it up. And the last thing, it looks like McDonald's is temporarily shutting down some of its U.S. offices and prepares to lay off some workers. It doesn't give me a count. Maybe in another article it does give an account, but from what I can tell, it's just it's in the hundreds, and it seems to be the corporate office. So not like the local McDonald's, not like the cashier or anything. This is going to be like um, maybe not chief officers of any department, but just um, maybe a marketing person. I don't know. It's in the hundreds. I'm not sure if it's just in the United States or if it's globally. I think it is international. So that is something to consider. But let's now look back into our technical analysis. So, again, the last time we looked was right in one of the, it was right in this area, 263. And based on the date, 225, that must have been this green bar at the very beginning because, again, it was at 263. So, yeah, it was trading sideways for a good while back to the end of October. And so, yeah, I should have marked out a buy point at 263, and I probably could have caught it, especially because, um, or I guess the buy point would have been 261, and we could have caught it at 263. So, yeah, looking back, I probably misplayed this one, but we'll find another opportunity down the road. So right now, I mean, this one, I mean, it's exceeded this resistance line. It didn't even struggle. I mean, again, the last time we looked was right here. Uh, if you want to call that a pause, we could, but really it just looked like they came down and then they just went up and up and up for the past 3 weeks, and even this week it's continuing to go up. When I look at the past month, I mean, this is the news for the past month, so it's like, um, of course, I'm not going into the granular details, but these are more of like the headlines for this company. And again, there's nothing that's like really like I mean, unless people are going crazy over the Krispy Kreme idea, I'm not really sure. I mean, two board members stepped down. Why would that cause anything? Layoffs? That doesn't really sound like good news. I mean, sure, you're going to save some money from the layoffs. Maybe those board members weren't the most popular, but they were there for 20 years. So nothing's really standing out unless people are really excited about the Krispy Kreme idea, where that's merger. Maybe Krispy Kreme investors are coming into McDonald's. Uh, Otherwise, I'm not really sure because it doesn't look like um, trade volume really accelerated. It seems normal. So I'm not sure what to make of it. Krispy Kreme seems like the only thing that might cause a stir positively, but other than that, I think at this point, um, maybe it's best to remove our sell line because clearly this has gone way above and beyond. That black line was, I guess, just a high point in, like, it's meant to be the all time high. I'm not sure why I put it so high, only because um, I would have thought, if anything, I would have put it down here as the all time high. But for some reason, I put it a little bit higher. I guess because the tails of each candle went that high, but at this point, I have to remove that too because I mean it's in an all-time high. I don't even really know how to call this one. In terms of a buy point, I'm going to keep the 261. I'm going to update that uh, in my little chart here that I'll share with you in a minute. But currently it's 282. The buy point I'm now saying is this 261, so I'll just change that to green. Um, I guess if I were to put a, I just want to put this line in here. I guess I'll make it blue for the time being. Uh, that's a possible, and that's an inflection point, and I might drop it down just a little bit, just because that seemed like it was so heavily resisted for a while. I'm gonna change the color to red, um, but we'll make it a little less thick, I guess, and just see how that plays out. Let me try to cut it in half. I think that's fairly visible. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, this one's in such a high uptrend, it doesn't even make sense for me to put it in. I mean, if I were to put it in, I mean, this is like to the moon type of activity. I can't even, like, the chart. I'm not sure how to make the chart go. Can I do that? Oh yeah, okay. So here we go. So if we zoom in, I mean the chart is just, I mean obviously this isn't going to last. We'll make that thicker. And if I were to draw this out for a couple weeks, I mean this is the trend that it's on. I mean that's absurd. And technically we could even pull it back a little bit. I mean that's insane. So it's saying next week, I mean it's going to, over the next couple weeks, I guess it's not too crazy. Um, let's draw in the upper channel of this just to see, and I'm trying to keep it as parallel as possible. And that'll give us a couple weeks. So that's kind of the range. So at this point, uh, we'll see what happens if this continues. But like in an uptrend like this, you know, I guess you can play it one of two ways. You can either just buy in now and hope to continue carrying that uptrend for who knows how long and then put like a stop loss on it. That's one option. Uh, Again, because we're kind of like the buy and hold type. Um, I don't know where this one's going to top out at. There's just, we're in new territory. So I guess if we were to look at times where it had new territory before, like here's the first one, and it looked like all of a sudden it acted as support. So it struggled to get above 261. Then all of a sudden, when it did, 261 was now like the new support period. If we look to another new all-time high, um, you know, the pullback on this doesn't seem that bad. Like every time it goes crazy in terms of like a new high, like here was a new high, it pulled back only a little bit. So a new high was established at like 227, it pulled back to 220, and then it never went below that. Then all of a sudden it got up to 230. Okay, I guess one dip, it did pull back to 220. Um, Massive growth here. New highs where it came up to like 260. Big pullback here in March of 22. I think a lot of companies did that. So I guess based on what I'm seeing in the past, even when it pulls back, I mean, I'm not sure how much weight we want to put on like this instance, but it, to me it seems like even if we were to buy this, the pullback, I don't think it's going to be all that great. Meaning, if this one say were to stop out here at 283, I mean the pullback might be to 270. Uh, Worst case, like back to 263 or 261, and you know, if we were to continue this on, let's just pretend we hit 300, maybe it would bounce back to 285. And again, I'm just basing that off of how it had a small pullback here, small pullback here, small pullback here, small pullback here. Like, I don't, there's just not many downtrends on this one. Like, here's one, here's one. I mean, even the top to bottom is not like insane. Like, this is probably the hardest drop it had. Even if we go back to, okay, I guess that was pretty bad, what it did here. Um, but yeah, the pullbacks, if we just go back way in the past, like this is a bad pullback back in 2018. This one's not terrible. Like it's noticeable, but it's not bad. This one's pretty severe. Like it can happen. I guess we'll just kind of see how this plays out. I really don't like having this trend lines in here, but for now, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, that trend line's been intact for almost a month at this point, so I'm curious to see how it continues. I want to see where it stops out because where it stops, we're likely going to see a pullback of say $10 to $20. I'm not sure if we'll get to see 261 again. maybe at some point, if we wait for a really long time, and considering this is a value stock, it might be worth the wait. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I don't really have a note for this one. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much the update for this. I guess my one note would be very high growth the past month. We'll say new highs. But yeah, we'll just kind of see how this plays out. Uh, Otherwise, currently it's at 282. I have a buy point at 261. A sell point, uh, just put it at X at this point with the new highs. But we'll see how this plays out. I think at some point, wherever that high is, and again, we can never know for sure, but wherever that high is, it's most likely going to pull back, say $10 or $20. So nothing crazy, and that's kind of the luxury of having a value stock. But the thing is, we don't know where it's going to top out at. If we look back just quickly, whenever it does top, it doesn't. I mean, here was a decent pullback, but I want to see like, so here was new highs, it pulled back. Like it might just keep climbing though. That's the thing. Um, this one might be a buy the dip type stock, and so I might even put that in here. Um, Possible buy the dip. Uh, but yeah, that pretty much wraps this up. Let me know your thoughts. Where do you think this one's going to peak out at? Um, where would you look to buy this one going forward? Where's your buy point? Uh, and yeah, what do you think of the Krispy Kreme news? That's pretty interesting. But outside that, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.